Namaste, my name is Guru and welcome back to Guru Samvad. If you haven't seen my last video, it was about the reasons why people are leaving Canada. It should be right there or maybe there, somewhere along the screen. So first of all, I want to thank everyone who took out the time to watch the video, give me a like, dislike, subscribe, comment, share, all of that. Each of these engagement metrics really means a lot for this channel. It just helps with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for your time and I hope you continue to do that in the future as well. So sit back, relax, have a cup of tea, and let's get on with it. Maybe it's too late into the video, but maybe you are thinking, what the hell is this guy doing in front of a river? So my thought process is no better way to start off the video than to be among the nature. And that's point number one. Natural beauty. You probably already know Canada is well known for Niagara Falls, Calgary Stampede, Banff National Park, Canadian Rockies, all of that. These are well documented tourist locations in Canada. And sadly, I've never been to any of these. That's kind of the point of this video, too. I don't want to talk about a tourist location for which you go to once in a lifetime or twice, 10 times at the max. I'm talking about the day to day experiences you get to enjoy with nature. Just to give you some context of where I'm standing right now, this is not a remotely located river. This is not a national park. This is something located very close to where I stay. It is probably walkable distance, maybe 10 to 15 minutes walk. And the point being, it is super accessible to anyone living around this city. Now, I've lived in a few cities in Canada and also explored a few more. I've lived in Vancouver, I've lived in Burnaby, this is Port Coquitlam. I've explored Mission, Abbotsford, Langley, Maple Ridge, North Vancouver, and a few other cities like that. And what I know for sure is any person living in any of these cities has an access to something similar to what you see in my background, or a different activity that involves nature, something like maybe hiking among the trails in the mountain, probably exploring a river like this, or cycling along the coastlines of a beach. And I remember my time in India. To explore something like this, I had to travel handful of kilometers, and most of the times it's outside of the city too. And I had to navigate the traffic, survive the traffic. This ability and the freedom to explore raw and untouched nature is something that I really like about Canada. Before we move along, I also wanted to share more than 95% of the people watching this video are not subscribed. If you found any sort of value in this video, please do take out some time to subscribe, like, or leave a comment, whether it's positive or negative. Share your opinion on what you think of this video. Thank you so much, and moving on. Point number two is respect towards nature. Now, the people living in this country, they have very high regard towards nature. And this high regard also reflects itself in the legal structure of Canada as well. Let's say you want to get rid of a tree that is in a public property, you need to get a whole bunch of permits from the local authorities that manage the forestry and trees. There are several things they consider, like the kind of tree, the size of tree, what is the risk of continuing to have this tree, is there a replantation program? If you're not planting by yourself, are you going to pay a fee in order for the government to plant this tree elsewhere? So they consider a lot of aspects before eliminating a tree. Now you might think that's only for public property, but no. Even if a tree exists in private property, you still need to get handful of permits from the local authority. Now think about it. In Canada, there are 8,000 trees per person. If you have 8,000 trees per person and you still care about nature with all of these laws and with all of these considerations, that shows the kind of attitude and mentality they have towards their natural surroundings. Now, this respect also extends to the animals that we come across on a daily basis, like, for example, squirrels or some birds like crows, migratory birds, Canadian geese, and the occasional bear. Should be okay. The one thing that I've noticed is, let's say I'm walking towards grocery store and I encounter some crows or squirrels, something like that. They don't run away or fly away at the sight of me. They are sitting there minding their business. It's only until I go extremely close to them, try to touch, and that's when they fly away or run away. Otherwise, they are in their place. I feel it's nothing to do with how I behave at that point, like respecting their personal space. It's generations together having this attitude of letting them have their personal space. countries. It feels like the attitude is we are coexisting and trying to live together. This kind of an attitude is something that we should all look up to, and that is something I truly like about Canada. Point number three is the strength of passport. Now there are several calculators and indices out there that shows how many countries that Canadian passport gets access to. I think the lowest estimate shows somewhere around 184 countries. If among the 192 countries you have access to 184 countries just by holding this passport, imagine the kind of global mobility opportunities that you have and you can explore. What I've observed is a lot of people study in Canada, get their citizenship done, then move to US right away. If not for US, they might move to Australia, New Zealand, European countries. When you hold a Canadian passport, the officials of different countries trust you to stay within the number of limited days that you are allowed to stay in a country. They are a bit more lenient than if we're a situation where you're holding a passport from a different country. All those advantages seem significant to me. If not for now, probably in the future that might come in handy. All right, so point number four is freedom of choice. Let's talk about career. People can be anything they want to. They want to be a carpenter, a plumber, a cashier, an accountant, a scientist, bus driver, CEO of a multinational company, or they want to stay unemployed. They can choose whatever they want to. Someone who is higher up, or any person for that matter, doesn't really comment on what is your position in an organization. Say, even if you're a junior analyst, nobody would dare to come up to you and say, hey, you're just a junior. They would have come through the same path. They would have held some entry level position, and that's how they don't feel it's fair to insult someone in a lower position. Also, the other part about your career is choosing your lifestyle as well. There are people who log in at 8, 9, leave exactly at 5 with no impact on their career. If you think about overtime, it is not something that is expected of you. It is more of an option for you to get things done. It is not something that is expected by default. If you think about cultural and personal expression, people wear all kinds of dresses here. I've seen people wear saris, they cover their faces, they wear hijabs. And no matter what culture they represent, they have their own unique kind of dressings. And people show curiosity when they see something unique, and they wish to understand why you wear a certain clothing and what is the background behind it, what it's called, and all of that. When it comes to food as well, there are all sorts of options that you have, and more importantly than that, you can choose to eat whatever you like and however you like. If I have to take an example from my own workplaces that I've worked for until now, there are times when I've taken chapati and sabzi to the office, and I ate by hand too, and nobody judged me for it. And I've always been courteous. I asked the people sitting around me saying, hey, do you mind if I use my hand to eat? Nobody has ever told me, hey, that bothers me. You work with them long enough to understand whether it really bothers them or not, and I don't feel like it really matters. And also, if you think about the community that people belong to, there are people that follow Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Sikhism, Jainism, Judaism. There are atheists. There are people who don't identify themselves as human beings too. All of them, they are well respected. They are welcome with open arms. Point number five, civic sense. In terms of civic sense, I need to bow down to this people of Canada, because you have set the bar so high. There are other countries that needs to follow the standards set by you. Let me explain. So if you think about something as simple as a line in a grocery store, in a coffee shop, or a line for transit to get into a bus, nobody pushes people around. Nobody is going to cut in the line. They are very respectful of first come, first serve. And I feel this kind of a respect for other people kind of makes everyone very calm, knowing that everyone has an equal chance. The other part is the consideration for others. This one is kind of well known. People hold the door open for the next person to come by. A simple matter of sneezing. People are very wary of the public around them, their surrounding. They cover their mouth while they sneeze. When you're walking in public and crowded places, high chances you might bump into someone. There are times when I would have accidentally bumped into someone and they said sorry to me, even though it was my mistake. When it comes to day to day, people respect each other a lot, and you can see that consideration showing up in their day to day behaviors. Moving on, when it comes to traffic, man, I have to tell you, after moving from India to here, half of my stress went away because of the way people follow the traffic rules. Pedestrians are treated with highest form of respect. Things like road rage, these are exceptional events. When I compare this to India, I think every single day when I was driving, I could see one or the other road rage incident, either involving me or probably someone else. And the important thing is, before you get your license, you need to pass the knowledge test and get through your road test done as well. They are checking for, of course, your knowledge on the rules. But more importantly than that, I think they're also looking for how predictable you are when it comes to traffic, how risk averse is your driving style. And something that truly stands out is the concept of right of way. And looking at the attitude of the people and the way they drive here, it seems like the right of way is given rather than taken. If you think about shared spaces like a park, a trail, a river, a camping site, a sidewalk, these are maintained so well, they're so clean. So there are times when I've been to some camping sites, there'll be a huge crowd that live in a camping site. They have their food there, they entertain themselves, spend the night, and after all of this, when they pack up, you don't see a single piece of garbage when they leave. So all in all, this civic sense, I think it's kind of an invisible thing. You can't really understand or experience it until and unless you come and live here. The fantastic thing is that everyone takes responsibility, and that makes the quality of life tremendously better. All right, so point number 6 is sense of safety. Of all the years I've lived here, I've never felt unsafe in any of the neighborhoods I've lived in. There are occasions where I've driven at odd times in the night. I've even walked around the neighborhoods at those times too, and never felt any sort of threat from anyone. I'm not denying the existence of crime. I feel crime is more prominent in the bigger cities and specifically concentrated in the downtown areas. Having experienced these kind of instances, there is that sense of safety in my mind when I live in this country. I also wanted to share there is this sense of peace of mind in this country too. It's probably something to do with the quietness or the nature around, maybe even just to be able to look at the skyline. Something about this country makes you very calm and peaceful. And once you experience this, you don't want to let go of it. So, to conclude, Canada is not a perfect place. I've already made a video about the reasons why people are leaving Canada. But after 6 years of living here, when I think back and reflect, I can see how lucky I am to be where I am. I'm grateful for the opportunities that I have right now, and none of this would have happened had I not moved to Canada. So that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for taking out the time to watch all the way through. And if you've stayed this long, do consider liking, subscribing, and leaving me a comment on how you felt. I wish you good health, wealth, and happiness. This is Guru signing off for Guru Samvad. Satyam Param Dhimahi.